This week, we are going to talk about not one, but two great reasons on why you should be having video in your marketing. You're going to like this. Stay tuned. Hey, thank you for tuning in this week. We've got a lot to cover, and a lot of it's going to be really some interesting information that you're going to want to just hang out for. Really, we're going to cover a lot of the information in terms of why video is such a key in marketing and how it doesn't have to be difficult and why it can be actually very simple to add that to it. So first off, we're kind of going to talk about the podcasting side of it, because podcasting, when you think podcast, you think audio, you think someone walking down the sidewalk with their earbuds in. But more and more common, it's becoming a video type of thing too. Because let's face it, if you're going to sit down and record a podcast, well, you may as well turn a couple of cameras on. That opens up a whole nother realm of possibilities for this type of content. And the big thing with that is video is becoming increasingly easy to get access to. When you think about it too, before, how many of us remember when you had limited data on your phone? Now, most plans are for unlimited data, so people can be anywhere scrolling through stuff. They're not worried about how many gigabytes have I downloaded this month. So video is all that much more accessible, A, from a cost standpoint, and B, now that we have the 4 and in many cases 5G connections, you're not waiting for something to download. It's going to be there pretty much instantly. They've got things set up to work well with that. So video has become such a ubiquitous thing that people don't even think about just the audio anymore, unless they're either A, working out in their car, or just doing other things where video doesn't work. But you see so many cases where people are sitting like in an office, in the passenger seat of a car. At least we hope it's the passenger seat of the car. We see them sitting on the couch, in the bathroom, all these other places where now video is 100% completely accessible. And the big part about that is video gives you that visual engagement. It really brings that, it brings you right to them. Whoever's talking is right there. I'm very much right in your face right now, especially if you're watching this in bed with the phone right here. I'm very much right in your face. And it's that visual engagement that really helps to create those deeper and better connections. We pick up a lot when we're listening to people from those visual cues. I know a ton comes from the voice, but there's these visual cues of what people are doing, how they're acting. If I just leaned back with my arms crossed the whole time, this may not be nearly as interesting. But because you can see I'm open, I'm engaged, I'm excited to do this. You can hear it in my voice, but you can also see it. It adds that extra layer, that extra connection. It's that extra visual engagement. And remember, last time we talked about engaging with people. This is all about that engagement. So if we can add that extra layer to it, especially in a podcast, that just extends that reach so much. And it extends how you can actually get to people and, once again, engage with them. The other thing that I want to mention with this is you have that ability to reach that wider audience. There's so many platforms that are video-based now. When you think about it, YouTube, obviously, but there's YouTube Shorts, there's Facebook Reels, there's Instagram Reels, there's Snapchat, there's TikTok, there's so many other platforms. I mean, I don't want to say the list is endless, but it is pretty close to endless on that. So you've got all these other options, whereas if you're just on a podcast, it's only that audio option. One that I didn't even mention there, LinkedIn. That's a huge one, especially if you work business to business. The other thing that I want to say is so now we've got this reach that we can get out to. We've got a much broader reach. You can reach a wider audience, which that's what everyone's looking to do with their business, right? In this, that raises your discoverability. If you're just out on one platform, if you're only on LinkedIn, if you're only on YouTube or whatever, that's fine. It's good to focus on one platform. But you can get discovered in so many other places. And let's face it, YouTube is a great place to get discovered. We mentioned it in our last show. YouTube's the number 2 search engine on the planet. Number 2. Between Google and YouTube, they cover like 95% of search traffic. It's a place you want to be involved in for sure. So when you add video to your podcast or to any other content that you're building, that just raises that level of discoverability. You're now on those search engines. You're now out there. You're now available. Not to mention, like I said, the fact that you've got all those other platforms that you can be on, that adds those items to it too. In addition, I talked about that visual engagement piece, how you're able to much more easily engage when people can see you. The other thing that's going to do is that's going to build community. It's going to build a structure around you. It's going to build a group around you. It gives you that personal connection that builds the community, the structure, that just group that likes to see you, that likes to hear from you, that wants to be involved with the things that you're doing. So to us, the fact that you can build that community around video, and once again, this can be video podcast, or this can just be regular, like a video that's, once again, an interview or any one of those items where it's multiple interviews or customer testimonials or anything like that. That helps build that community. Because once again, it visually shows how you can connect with people. As far as the podcasting side, that's one of the reasons why, when we designed our studios here, we've got the cameras in the room. We've got the screen that you can put your logo up on. We've got this all set up so it is geared towards both the audio side and the video side, because we want to make sure that you have the ability to connect with all those people out there. So let's talk about kind of video on a broader sense of things there in terms of like video for marketing, because that's obviously a big part of creating video, whether it be in the video podcast studio or whether it be out doing some other form of video project. Video is a powerful, powerful storytelling medium. You can connect on that emotional level and create that investment that people are going to have in that emotional investment that people are going to have with that through video, because it, like I said, it is such that powerful storytelling medium. In many cases, we take bits of what people have said, and when you combine those, you get these great, great, great pieces. And those can fit in and tell this larger story, and they can talk about the bigger things that are going on. We're able to take and make these stories more concise and, in many cases, harder hitting. When you put some B-roll over top of that, some other footage, so while someone's talking, we're going to put some other footage of an action happening. So now you've got someone talking, and then you've got this other footage coming in over top. That can create that really, really powerful story and that really, really powerful connection with the audience. In many cases, when we do some work with nonprofits, I call it what I usually call it is the Sarah McLachlan dog in a cage, empty your wallet out on the table moment. It's those connections that you can build with people. Now, on the flip side of that, you can also build some other happier connections with people. We've all seen TV ads where it's got a kid running and smiling, and you're like, okay, why is that kid running and smiling? It doesn't matter. The kid is running and smiling, and you're now associating that with the product that you're watching. It's these types of simple tools and tricks that can be used in video all over the place that can create that connection, that can create that powerful storytelling piece. And that's what we're looking for in it. Now, in a podcast, we can even do that same thing. We can bring in some outside footage. We can bring in some other items. If you've done a speech on something, to have you and have had that recorded, to bring in other pieces of that, to bring in many cases, stock footage or just other items that are related to it, can really add that power to that story and help to build on that. When I mentioned the build on that, the other big thing with this is you're going to be building trust. And I talked about this earlier when I dove into some of the items about how we can build trust by being visually connected with people. You've got that visual engagement. You can see me. You know what's going on. You know that I'm talking directly to you. And that's going to help build that trust. You're seeing real people here. I'm not this AI-generated typeface. I'm not anything like that. I'm a real person. You know that because I quite often mess up on here. And I leave those in there because you'd realize then that it's me. It's real. It's an actual interaction. It's how people talk. It's not perfect. And that's what builds that connection. Now, when we talk about just video, it is a great way to showcase products, services, things like that in action. So it could be a product demo. It could be, we've had many people create courses in the studio. We've had people that can come in and just demonstrate their expertise in the studio. You can do the same thing in a sit-down video interview with B-roll over top of it, with things that you've built over top of it. There's all those different ways that you can help to demonstrate that value with video and really show people what's going on. If you just had, let's say, a normal audio podcast, you'd hear the audio here and you'd think, boy, that's high quality audio. When you see the equipment behind it here, when you see the microphone, you see this microphone stand, you know there's good lighting in here. There's those types of items. You can demonstrate that there's the value to it. That's why we do these types of videos in our podcast studio, is to demonstrate the value of the studios. That's why it's here. That's why we've done that. You can do the same thing with showing your products and show the value that it has to people and show how you can solve a problem for people. Because let's face it, that is the number one way that people are going to purchase something, is if you help solve a problem, take care of a problem in their life. That is just an amazing way to connect with people on that. Now, something else that I like, especially with the podcast studio, is we're able to drive conversations. We've got a few interesting conversations coming up here that I'm really excited about. And these conversations, they're with people that I probably wouldn't be able to talk to otherwise had it not been for podcasting. Podcasting is what's provided these connections. Podcasting is what's given us these abilities to talk about things and learn about each other and have these conversations. There's a few happening in the next few weeks here that I'm going to allude to here. But I'm really excited about because we've got some very unique people coming in to talk. The big thing, and I've talked about this before, and I've mentioned the word before, is engagement. Video's king on social media. That's all there is to it. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, YouTube, LinkedIn, all of these, they can really help you reach that wider audience. They're going to go out and grab people. People are sitting there waiting to stumble upon what you have as they're scrolling across their phones. That, to me, is one of the biggest things out there. You just need one or two to find that thing and like that, and that's going to be amazing for you. We don't typically say, let's just do a video or let's just do a podcast, though. One of the things that we're huge about is strategic planning, because let's face it, I always mention, and if you look in the bottom, if you've ever received an email from me, you know that it says success is a shared thing. We firmly believe that. We are not going to be successful unless you're successful. So that's why we work with some strategic planning on stuff to make sure that we're going to be understanding and then hitting your marketing goals. We want to look at what's the main message you're trying to communicate. Who's your target audience? What do you want them to do with your video? What's the goal here? Where are we looking to go from? I don't know how many times I get someone coming up to me and says, hey, I want to do a video. And I'm like, great. Why? And they sit there and they stare at me for a second. They're like, well, we need video. And I'm like, for what? And I'm excited. I'm glad we're to this point. But I always want to ask those items. Why? For what? What are your video goals? Why are we creating a video other than the sake of creating video? Because we don't want to create a video for the sake of video, because then that doesn't give us anything measurable. That's not doing anything with a goal. We want to make sure that we are starting out with a goal, and everything that we do in these videos is headed straight for that goal. I know there's a lot of places out there when you say, hey, we'd like to do a video, and they're like, great, let's do it. And just blindly walk into that. They set up cameras, they get people in front of them, and okay, sometimes you get a good result, sometimes you don't. For us, the key is if we're going to do a video, we want to make sure that we know why we're doing that video and what direction we're headed with it. Where are we going with this? What are we trying to do? What are we trying to accomplish? If it's more sales, which typically that's the case, if you're trying to get more sales with video, great. But how are we going to do that? Just creating a video doesn't magically make a cash register ring. We don't like to hope for that, but that's not necessarily the case. So we look at video from a strategic aspect of this. Why are we doing this? How is this going to make the cash register ring for you? Or how is this going to have an effect on your business? From there, if we're doing a series of videos, if we're doing a series of podcasts with you, we want to look at those measurements and results at the end of it. What worked? What didn't? Are we achieving our goals? Are we headed in the right direction here? Those are the big questions that we want to ask, because we want to make sure that once again, we're getting things right. We're headed in the right direction for it. Finally, I've got to say, whether you're looking to do a video podcast or whether you're just looking to do video, period, just some sort of interview video, product highlight video, whatever, you know it's a powerful way to engage with your audience, with new audiences even, through marketing videos. And we are here to help. So do me a favor, contact us. You can do it through our website. You can do it through all of the platforms. We are more than happy to say, send us a DM. We would love to hear from you. We're excited to work with you. We're excited to get to your marketing goals. As always, I will see you soon. If you can, make sure you take care of yourself and help out someone else. I'll see you soon.